In this two-part video sequence, I'm going to share a really powerful taste of your zone of fulfillment. And there are three spheres you need to align with in order to access your zone of fulfillment. So in this first part, I'm going to briefly introduce these spheres so you can get a quick sense of what they represent. And then in the second part, we'll dive straight into a core foundational practice that really gives you a powerful taste of this. So the first sphere is the sphere of your vitality. This is everything alive inside you. Honoring what's alive in you creates the space for true fulfillment to emerge. We're so accustomed to, pushing through and rushing through and forcing our way through what's happening in this moment. And so too often we're living unfulfilling daily lives because we're rushing and racing toward a future finish line, hoping that's where we'll finally find fulfillment, happiness, or contentment. But here's the thing. When you're so conditioned to only focus on a future state of being, is it any wonder that once you achieve something, the fulfillment you feel is fleeting? Many of us are so disconnected from what's truly alive inside us, and we've become so accustomed to running on fumes, that we often create energy by mortgaging or borrowing from other parts of life. So maybe we sacrifice sleep or self-care to give more to our family or to work. And this approach really is just a Ponzi scheme, right? It's accepted because everybody does it, but it's really a Ponzi scheme. We're expanding one part of life by squeezing another. And that leaves us in a chronically depleted state. It leaves our vitality constricted. In order to create lasting, powerful change, which is what we're all about here, we need energy. And our vitality is vital energy that's already within us. And it's available right now. We just need to unlock it. And it starts by connecting with what's genuinely alive in us right here, right now. So sphere one, your vitality. Sphere two is your mirror. This is everything unfolding around you. All of my years of research have led me to understand that science and ancient wisdom are actually saying the same thing. Life is constantly mirroring our inner state back to us. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself telling somebody, will you stop being so loud or intense or whatever? Only to realize that you're the one who's actually feeling really intense or being loud. Or maybe you've found yourself really frustrated by one of those customer service representatives who's just like the poster child of stubbornness and impatience. And you're just so aggravated, only to find yourself an hour later talking to a colleague in a stubborn and impatient way. Or maybe you've noticed that when you're interested in buying a particular car, suddenly you start seeing that car everywhere. When my wife and I were thinking about getting a Mini Cooper some years ago, out of nowhere, it seemed like Mini Coopers were on every road we traveled. Now, did those cars suddenly appear? Of course not. They were always there. We just hadn't noticed them before. Our inner state shapes how we view the world. And because our vitality is often constricted and depleted, what we notice is mostly stress, strain, and struggle. And even then, because we're so misaligned so often, it can be really hard to recognize what's truly alive in us. And so when life becomes really stressful and really overwhelming, all the crap and the stuff that just keeps us up at night is actually life reflecting back that mirror that we need, inviting us to realign. So when we see that impatience and stubbornness in others, it can help us see that in ourselves, and then ultimately release that and move forward. This is what unlocks our vitality, our vital energy in more harmony with what's unfolding around us. And that is what empowers us to step forward to align with sphere number three. Sphere three is where we're ultimately headed. It's your medicine. Now, many indigenous cultures taught that we each show up, we each come into this life with a unique medicine. And you can think of your medicine as a very special, innate way of seeing, feeling, thinking, and engaging life. When we embody these innate qualities, we become like superheroes, not just in what we do, but in how we show up. Our presence and how we move through circumstances shifts dramatically in a way that ripples out and enhances the entire ecosystem around us. The sad thing is, most of us have little to no connection to our medicine. And in other videos, I'm going to share a variety of ways to do so. But in this video, or in this practice that's going to come up in part 2, one of the simplest ways is to begin by tuning into what your heart truly desires in this moment, if you weren't stuck with whatever's holding you back. And as you're going to see in a moment, whatever your heart signals symbolizes a more aligned state of being, a state of being that empowers you to move through this moment in greater alignment with your medicine. In the same way that Mini Coopers are all around us, even if we aren't fully aware of them, any state of being our heart truly desires can be brought into this present moment. And that is what true fulfillment is about. Fulfillment is not the payoff, it's the path. Fulfillment is not about achieving something in the future in order to be able to experience a state of being then. Fulfillment is the path of bringing an envisioned state, an aligned state of being into the present moment. And when you do that, you move through this moment in the most fulfilling and impactful way. In part 2 of this video, I'm going to guide you through a foundational process to experience this alignment. And think of it as a beginner's step. And while it's simple, it's incredibly powerful.